Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to try a different kind of video. Many people have been talking about whether or not they should cancel their subscriptions to different streaming platforms. So what I'm trying to do is to help my viewers decide which movies on those platforms are worth watching, and in turn that may help them make their decision with that process. We live in a time where there are so many movies and TV shows out there that everyone's wondering what is worth watching and what is available on the streaming platforms that I have. Should I cancel my subscriptions? Should I get more subscriptions? What should I do? So with this video, I'm going to touch on 4 different films that are available on Netflix, and will hopefully give you guys a better idea of what films are worth watching and what ones are worth skipping, so that you don't waste your time and you can watch a decent movie. The 4 movies that I want to do a quick snapshot on today are Beckett, Senior Year, The Age of Adaline, and Uncharted. So let's dive right in. Number 1 on the list is Beckett. An American tourist in Greece finds himself on the run after a tragic accident plunges him into a political conspiracy that makes him a target for assassination. This movie is an hour and 48 minutes long and is categorized as a thriller/crime. I think that John David Washington had a really great performance in this movie, and that the film overall did a really good job making you feel like you were actually there. Like the things that were happening were raw and real, as were the emotions that you saw on screen. You're in this foreign environment where you don't know where anything is, you don't know who's trying to help you or who's trying to hurt you, when you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I really liked the script, I liked the acting performances. There were some moments that were less than believable towards the end of the movie, but there weren't that many. And I thought that the plot played out well on screen and you were on the edge of your seat for most of the movie. So I think if you're looking for a clean thriller with some good acting, Beckett would definitely be worth watching. I gave Beckett a 7.5 out of 10. Number 2 on the list is Senior Year. A high school cheerleader falls into a coma before her prom. 20 years later, she awakens and returns to high school to reclaim her status and become prom queen. This movie is rated R and is an hour and 51 minutes long and calls itself a comedy. It's starring Rebel Wilson, and this is the first film that I've seen after her absolutely incredible physical transformation. Really proud of her for that, not proud of her for this movie whatsoever. This movie is basically the inverse of 17 again. Instead of being older and going back into your younger body and returning to high school with a different perspective, she's waking up all these years later as an adult and is trying to go back to high school as her adult self. In addition to that, they try to make this movie pretty explicit, and to me, a lot of it was not that funny. Not to mention the fact that within the first 2 minutes of the movie, it's established that what happened to her was not an accident, and they never talk about it again. There's never a point of conflict, there's never figuring out that. It's just swept under the rug and never talked about again for the rest of the movie. So what you end up with is an unfunny, explicit movie that has a bit of an awkward script and a lot of different awkward situations, with characters that have a lack of depth and an ending that doesn't satisfy you in the least. This movie was one of the worst comedies that I've seen in a long time, and it's definitely not worth watching. I had to give Senior Year a 3 out of 10. Number 3 on the list is The Age of Adaline. Adaline Bowman has miraculously remained a youthful 29 years of age for nearly 8 decades, never allowing herself to get close to anyone lest they discover her secret. However, a chance encounter with a charismatic philanthropist named Ellis Jones reawakens Adaline's long-suppressed passion for life and romance. When a weekend with Ellis's parents threatens to expose the truth, Adaline makes a decision that changes her life forever. This movie is rated PG-13, is an hour and 52 minutes long, and is classified as a romance/fantasy. I really enjoyed Blake Lively's performance in this movie. I think that the romance and fantasy elements of this movie actually balance each other out really nicely, to where you're not just getting a Nicholas Sparks romance movie, and you're also not getting some crazy fantasy related film. All of the performances were really believable, especially given the very unique circumstances of what was going on screen. There is an element of a narrator involved in this movie that, instead of hinting at things with subtlety, they use the narrator to exposition dump on you and tell you exactly what's going on. I didn't really know how I felt about that, but it didn't take away from the movie. And ultimately, I found myself really enjoying this movie. So if you're looking for an interesting and unique romance movie with some elements of fantasy that balance out well, that's clean and heartfelt, definitely check out Age of Adaline. I had to give Age of Adaline a 7.5 out of 10. And 4th and finally is Uncharted. Treasure hunter Victor Sully Sullivan recruits street-smart Nathan Drake to help him recover a 500-year-old lost fortune amassed by explorer Ferdinand Magellan. What starts out as a heist soon becomes a globe-trotting full-throttle white-knuckle race to reach the prize before the ruthless Santiago Moncada can get his hands on it. If Sully and Nate can decipher the clues and solve one of the world's oldest mysteries, they stand to find $5 billion in treasure, but only if they can learn to work together. This movie is a PG-13 action-adventure that is just under 2 hours long. I gotta say, this movie started out strong and was pretty interesting, but the more the film went on, the more it became kind of like Fast and Furious 9. The more you watched the film, the more ridiculous the things you saw on screen started to get. Tom Holland is a great actor, Mark Wahlberg is a veteran actor, but some of the performances of the other actors and actresses I found pretty unbelievable, just not very convincing. And some of the jump cuts that they used in one scene would have a character displaying one emotion, cut away really quick, cut back, and have them displaying a completely different emotion, and it was really jarring and very noticeable. There were some lighter moments involving comedy that I really enjoyed, but the character development overall wasn't that great, and by the end of the film you realize Tom Holland carried this movie on his back, but that's never enough to save a film. So if you're willing to turn your brain off and turn up your willing suspense of disbelief and just sit back and enjoy a kind of cheesy action adventure movie with some lighter moments of comedy, Uncharted might be worth watching for you. I had to give Uncharted a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this new style of video that I made when it comes to these streaming platforms, please let me know in the comments below. I plan on making more of them as I continue, while also staying up to date on movies coming out in the box office and the originals released by these streaming platforms. We are inching closer and closer to 100 subscribers, so I'm just super thankful for your love and support along the way. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.